Welcome everybody to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage. Today we're going to be looking at BNB. This is going to be a lower time frame video. Make sure that you check the higher time frame video up above for more context on the waves we're going to be discussing within this video. Okay, so let's get into the charts and see what's going on. Okay, before we actually jump into the lower time frame analysis here, I just want to go over a couple of the ideas that we are looking for here. So there is still the potential that we could look at this move as a W and X, and we're looking for a Y wave to the downside. 1-to-1 is this 113.8. We have our 0.618, which would be the minimum requirement we'd be looking for, would be here towards this 183.9. Now, it is possible that this X wave could still be in play here. However, what we need to be careful of is the fact that this could actually complete into this high over here. And what this could just be is a bigger A, B, and a C to the upside here. So we have come up into this zone. Now, what I'm being careful of is the fact that this could become 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We get a 3 wave up, and then we look to move back down into this Y wave location. Now, some interesting targets lower down here towards this 1-to-1 would actually be this level here of this 116.5, because this would align with coming back down into this. This is a 0.382 retracement. So going to be keeping an eye on that if we do look to move down. Now, the alternative thing that I'm looking for here is that potentially what we could have here is that this move could actually be 1-2, 1-2, but we have come down very deep now, so it is making this less probable already. But we could also still have this as a corrective move, which is still looking to push up one more time. So we need to just be on the lookout for this possibility that we could see an additional leg to the upside here. So we're going to go over that idea first. Now, if we were looking at this as a bigger W, this is an X, and then looking for this as a Y wave to the upside here, what I would be looking for here within this count is the fact that we are looking for an additional leg to the downside. Yes, sorry, this is in the wrong degree. There we go. So this could be A, this could be B, and then we're looking for this C wave to the downside. So if this is the case, really for as long as we stay below this 264.8, I will be still looking for the potential of having this additional fifth wave to the downside. Now, invalidation of this fifth wave would come by crossing this 299.8 and coming back into this zone. But if we do start to break up here and we start to break out of this zone here of this 264.8, it becomes more likely we're going to see this continue to the upside here and invalidate this fourth wave here. So we need to just be careful with this. There is still potential here to come down one more time, and we are still sitting within this rejection area. What I'm being mindful of is that this could just be an A, this could be a W, X, and we got A, B, and C here. So if we do see one more push to the upside here and look to bring us back into these highs, potentially this could align with this ending towards this 253.8. Alternatively, if we do look to push a little bit higher here, we do actually have a naked point of control that is sitting here towards this 260 level. So if we do see price push up here above these highs and looks to sweep these, then potentially that would align with coming into that zone. If I just throw this on here as a 1-to-1, what our 1-to-1 would be just above this at this 261.7. Though looking at the internals here, you know, I would say that this has probably got just one more push to the upside here. So we'll have to see whether this can push up as high as that or whether it's actually going to fail this and complete lower down here. Really, for as long as we hold this low, there is always the potential this could be something like a 1-2, 1-2 here. But within this count, effectively, I'm looking for this fourth. So it is looking very corrective at the moment. Nevertheless, if we did have to push up higher here, so I'm just going to get this target as a possible zone that we could be looking for if we do get a breakout here. This 284, this would align with the idea of having a break to the upside here. We would be looking for something like this to play out, where this becomes 1-2, this becomes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a fourth and a fifth. And then we would have to be on the lookout, even though I'm not looking at this as an impulsive structure. Potentially it could be a diagonal, in which case we could see something like this if we are arguing that we're going to see a breakout. But it's not really my primary expectation here. I would say this would be more likely to have one more push to the downside. Now, if we are looking at this, what we do have here as a potential target area is this area here of this 213 to this 201 level. So that would be bringing us into this 854, which of this wave A, which is here at this 212, and then we have this lower area here of this 194 would be our 1-to-1. Now if we do actually push down in this way, what we could then see is that possibility of still having a Y wave to the upside here, which our 1-to-1 would actually be up here towards this 479. So this would be off of coming into this or off of this current low. If we did come down deeper here, then potentially what we could see 1-to-1 would bring us back up towards this 451, which would be bringing us back into this high here. So we do also have this target box. If we do see price move up into this zone, then effectively what we could see is we could see some interaction with some of these naked points of control that we have up here, which would be aligning with that idea of coming out and swing failing this. Alternatively, if it does look to push up higher towards this 1-to-1, we do also have a cluster of naked points of control higher up here past this high here at this 460 level. So going to be on the lookout for this. If we do see price look to push to the upside, it would make a lot of sense to come back and sweep some of these levels. So that would be looking at this as a W, X, and a Y to the upside here, where we could be looking for one more move to the downside here, and then that continuation to the upside. Now, what we need to be also on the lookout for is we were talking about the potential here that we could have something like this as a triangle. Let me just come onto the tally here, where we were saying what we could be looking for is this is A, B, C, D, and then looking for this as an E wave. Now, at the moment, I am looking at this as a 5-wave move. However, if we do just see this come back up and invalidate and we get a 3-wave structure back to the upside, I will be keeping an eye on this zone here of this 326 as a potential E-wave location. Like I said, I'm not looking at this looking to break to the upside here in 3 waves or even as a 5-wave move. But if we do see this break out of that 4th wave zone, I would be on the lookout for this potential of having this actually come up here as an E wave, in which case what we could potentially see then is that continuation to the downside afterwards. Invalidation of this would come by breaking above this C wave and getting a sustained break above this level of this 352.2. Sometimes this E wave might wick this and then break back in, but typically speaking, we don't consolidate above this level. Now, the other way we could argue that this is taking place is that, like I said, we have this as a completed X wave over here, and the same idea would be playing out here. Still looking for that idea that this is 1, 2, 3, looking for a 4th here, and this 5th wave to the downside. This would mark our A wave low in this case, and what we'd then be looking for is the potential that we could have this as A, we come back up for a B wave, fail to break back above this zone of this 352. This would be our invalidation, and then actually see continuation to the downside in this C wave. Now, if we do just get this as A, B, and then C, this could align with the idea of coming back down here, looking to target out this 0.618, which would be a minimum requirement of the Y wave. Alternatively, what we could see is that this could also just get a 3-wave up and then continue to the downside. So if we do just get 3 waves down, potentially we could see this come down towards this 173 area, in which case we would then be looking for, possibility that we could complete here, unless we get 3 waves up, in which case we could look for continuation. Now, what we need to be careful of is if we do start to break down here, where we get this additional 5th wave, we come back up here for this wave 2, and then we start to break down deeper. If we start to cross this 125.4, this would align with actually this move morphing into a bigger 5-wave structure, in which case we'd be looking at this as 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And instead of looking at this as a WXY, I would be then looking at this as an A, a B, and then having this as a C wave to the downside. Once again, this would be looking to bring us into this 1-to-1 level here and this 116.5. So going to be keeping an eye on this if we are looking at that downside potential here. Now, I want to just go over that upside potential. If we're looking at that bullish case here, what we would be arguing then is that we have this move here as a 1 and a 2, and then we'd have to argue that this is 1 and 2 again. Now, like I said, we have come down very deep here. If I turn on the secondary count here, invalidation is at this 220.1. We did come very close to invalidating here. And like I said, I do think that this is a 4th, and we're still going to see that push down. But if we do start to break to the upside here, and we do look to take this high what I'll be looking out for primarily is this 1-to-1 at this 353, which would bring us back into these highs as a 1-to-1, potentially looking for this move still to look to break down at a later point. If we just get a three-wave move up here, this would be making me think this is just corrective, and we'll see that continuation down. However, if we do look to push back to the upside here, what we could look for is this 1618 at this 472 level. So if we do get 5 waves up here and we do manage to reach this zone, what I would then be anticipating would be an additional 4th and a 5th. The problem that we have here is this wave 1 and this wave 4. There is not a lot of space here in this case here, so it would be less likely for this to play out. If anything, we probably see something like this, another 1 and a 2, and then a push to the upside if this is the case. But you know, I would want to see a move up to this level. So either this wave 3 has to extend up past this, so there's more space for this 4th wave, or alternatively we get something like a very shallow 4th as a triangle or something over here, and then looking for this 5th wave to the upside. So if we did move up towards this and we did come back down and not invalidate, we could potentially still see price push up towards this 567 to this 506 as our 5th wave within this case. Now the problem that I have once again with this idea here is what I'm looking for is the 3rd wave that comes up towards this 588. So if we do get something like this and we do see some extension, it would make sense that we'd have to get some extension to get up towards this target of this 3rd, but we don't always have to reach these targets, so we need to just be aware that that's not a rule. The wave 3 just cannot be the shortest wave. Okay, so I want to just go over a couple of things here. So I'm going to turn on these naked points of control that we currently have. There is also one lower down here in this 5th box here that we haven't actually come down and hit. This is why I'm thinking if this is a 4th wave here, what we could still see is a push to the downside, looking to take out these levels here, and then potentially getting a move to the upside in that way. We do have some swing lows here towards this 220, 216, and this daily naked point of control still down here at this 212. That would align with that idea of that 5th wave to the downside. If we do, however, look to the upside here, we do have this little bit of a cluster that's sitting up here of naked points of control. So I would be very interested to see if we do move back up here, whether we get a deeper retracement and we look to either come back and take these out, or alternatively, what we could get is that other alternative where we're going to see price move through these levels and then look to sweep these out. So we're going to be keeping an eye on that as time goes on here. Having a look at the daily CPR lines here, what we can see is that we are currently underneath these lines. If we do not manage to reclaim these, potentially this could indicate we see price move towards this 241. We have this 237.8, this 233.1, and this level here of this 230 as potential downside targets for today. So this would align with, you know, starting to see this move break to the downside here. If, however, we do see price start to push to the upside and we get back above these CPR lines, potentially what we could see is price move up towards this 248.8. We have this target here of this 253.6, this 256.8, and this 261.6 as potential upside targets for today. Now, I am looking for that possibility that we could start to break down, so we always need to be careful of that, but this would align with pushing up into that 4th wave area where we could see, you know, that one more push to the upside before that continuation to the downside. So if we flip this over here onto the weekly now, what we can see is that we are currently holding these weekly CPR lines. So this top line here, which could potentially become support again if we move down, would be here at this 243.2. If we start to lose that, we have this central line here at this 240.3, this 237.1. And now if we start to lose these zones and we start to break to the downside, we have 225.3, 216.8, and this level here of this 201.8 as potential downside targets for this week. If, however, we maintain above this level, potentially what we could see is price come back to the upside here to retest this 248.9. If we do break above that, we have upside targets still of this 263.6 and this 272 area to the upside where we could see price look to move. Now, this would align with that idea of actually pushing back up here one more time for this 4th wave, particularly up into this 50% region would actually be quite interesting to me, this 264.8, if we do see price start to move to the upside here. Now, looking at the monthly CPR lines, what we can see is that we've actually broken these. And what I want to see here is if we fail to break back above these levels, it becomes more likely we're going to see that continuation to the downside. Now this R1 is aligning with the idea of a fifth wave to the downside here at this 204.5. So if we do see price break down here, potentially this could be an interesting area to keep an eye on. If we do look for lower targets than that, we do have this R2 at this 168.6 and this lower zone of this 116.6 as potential targets for this month. Now we don't have to hit these targets. These are just potential pivot points, and price can actually move through these. If we do look to the upside, what we have as a target here is this 292.4. We have this 344.4 and this level here of this 380.6 as potential targets to the upside. Okay, so I'm going to leave the video there. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please smash the like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video, and leave us some feedback down below. Also in the description, you'll find a link to the Discord. Come check it out. It's free to join. Everyone have a great day. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.